When? Well, the government will push you into regulations all the time. It's different for each company, it's different for each industry, but the government will definitely push you there. End of life on existing hardware. This is probably the primary mover for my clients. I mean, no business owner is going to have just spent X amount of dollars on infrastructure that's still working, still has capacity, still's running their company, and then just go to the cloud. If it's going to die and then they're looking at, well, you know, it's 100 grand to redo this infrastructure, that's a big impetus to do the switch. If you can't grow, that's a good reason. I wanted to put this up here, organizational ID maturity. Some industries just lend themselves better to cloud than others. You know, if you're in old world manufacturing, you know, you're stamping parts for the automobile industry or something, you know, that might be a really good way to cut your capital costs, because it's probably more important that your 350-ton press is operational than this particular application is running over here. Because the application is just probably doing accounting, billing, and shipping things, whereas the press is the stuff that's actually making you money. So that's a reason. When you get in these older companies, the organizational ID, the identification is big. Another one is generational. Mark Lamella, my COO, and I have this conversation all the time. I go to a business that's being run by typically a family-owned company, been in business for more than 2 decades, and they got a lot of cash. They've been profitable a long time. They don't use any credit. Successful company. Successful people, wonderful people to be around. The thing is, in their world, everything they owned was right down the hall, right over here. That's where I want my server. Yep, I know I could lose electricity. I still want it right here. You don't have any additional bandwidth. I still want it right here. You don't have it. Just put it in. And we just did a project like that just last year. How do you get there? Oh, man, getting there is so tough. This is the really, really, really difficult part of the cloud. Hold on a second. I kicked over my model. So, I grew up in the Legoland world. This is your security problem right here. You got a CRM system. You got an application system running accounting. You have to interface with one of your suppliers because they're a really big company, so you got to do EDI. You got to have some firewalling because you're under some type of regulatory compliance, so you need some type of unified threat management. Of course, you don't want to have any spam because that just wastes employees' time. You take anybody's payroll, any company in the world, you take 5 minutes of every employee's time per hour. You multiply that over the course of the year, it's equivalent to 2 weeks worth of payroll for the entire year. We need to put that in place. Then we got to buy some storage, and then we got to get some servers. And eventually, when we're all done, what do we have? We got this big mess. We got to get to the cloud. This is the problem, folks. It's not about, do I go with Amazon or do I go with SunGard? Do I move into an IBM facility? Do I go to GoGrid? Do we buy it ourselves? Do we put it in-house? No, this is the problem right here. We have all these pieces as CS, as MIS majors. We have to build a solution. Your clients do not care how it gets done. They answered the important question, which was why. They gave you the responsibility of the how. Your job is to figure it out. This is the important part. This is what it's all about for us in our industry. It's like flying a 747 and having the engine die. No problem, right? You only got one engine. Guess what? When you go to do the project, you only got one engine. You got to keep the plane flying, and you got to repair the one engine that's still working because the other one fell off. That's IT. If you don't want to be in a world that's completely under pressure all the time, then you're in the wrong one. At OMNIPOTECH, we want to focus on making these happy little customers. And our happy little customers, we set the right expectations, and we build an environment for them that works. There's a lot of pitfalls. Back to Oracle and rack space. So a client comes to me and says, I want you to host Oracle financials for us. I'm like, no problem, we've been hosting for you before. We want to run on Linux. I'm like, you know, we really don't hold ourselves out as Linux superstars. Back to the train flee thing. Could we have done it? Yeah. Talk to my guys, they're like, let's not do it. I'm like, all right, fine, let's not do it. So I said, hey, go to Rackspace. I mean, they're Rackspace. I mean, they're awesome. So they go to Rackspace. So they go to Rackspace, they get a rack, they provision it all out, they get their whatever resources they need. $2,500 a month, I think it was. The Oracle developers go out and they install Oracle and put all the pieces together on all the multiple servers and all that stuff. And as software is, it's amazing. It just doesn't work all the time, but it breaks. Did you never notice that? Like sometimes it just doesn't work. And so it doesn't work. And so they called the developers. And they're like the gurus, right? I mean, these are the guys. These are the Oracle gurus. They know everything. And they say, it's not us, it's the operating system. No problem. We're going to call Rackspace. They call Rackspace. Rackspace says, well, according to our service level agreement, we are not responsible for your operating system. That's your problem. Well, we don't have anybody who knows Linux. Can you help us? No. Well, certainly you have a person there. No. Well, no. So they call us again. Now we're back to us fixing it in Rackspace. I should have just done it myself. That's a true story. You know how long that went on? 8 months. They brought in 3 separate consulting firms and eventually went to McKinsey, one of the big 4 big bucks, to fix it. So you need to understand your inter-vendor risk. It is there. It is smacking people in the face, and it doesn't come to them until they come out of the clouds. And then they realize they are getting royally not happy. Platform providers versus application developers. Who's watching the operating system? That's what I was just talking about. This is a key point. Depending on your business, RPO, RTO, these are big, big topics. How long can your business be down and you not go out of business? That is a huge question. You want to see a dull, blank CEO stare? That's a good one. How long? And of course, they'll come up with a number. It's almost irrelevant what it is because they had no metrics whatsoever to come up with that number. And then you go back into your room and you figure out what it's going to cost to build that solution so they're only down X number of minutes, hours, whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden it becomes a risk that they're not willing to undertake. That's a reason to go to the cloud. The reality is cloud providers go down as well. Postini's gone down nationwide. There's been BlackBerry outages has gone down. QuickBooks Online was down for 48 hours. Okay? It happens. There's no such thing as a perfect computer system. But you got to know your risks. The other thing is, I don't know about the other companies. I don't know if you go to Rackspace, if they carry an insurance policy that says, hey, if we lost your data, we got an insurance policy, kind of like errors and omissions insurance for officers and directors, but we do. Now your questions. So Brian, see Tony afterwards.